Hi.
Hey.
Is it just us?
I think so. I messaged Julia with the link.
Okay.
So I don't know. She never got back to me through text, so I don't think she is, but
just in case.
I did send her to her just in case she is checking her emails and stuff. So
all right. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Sorry, I like just had my teeth worked on, and so I have like gauze in my mouth. So
thank you for meeting.
Yeah, no, we're good.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm good. I just wanted to let you know that like that's why I sound so weird. And if I'm kind of like dozy, that's why.
Oh, I really appreciate you meeting with me.
Well, no problem.
So I think we just start, and then I think it'll finish once we click stop broadcast, and then there's something I do to retrieve it, I think. So
yeah, just post like the link.
I've been kind of worried, like, what if it doesn't record? And I'm like, we did half an hour. We could try to test it. Do you want to do a test run, or do you think we'll be fine?
I think it'll work because like on my computer there's a green dot saying that it's recording.
Oh, okay.
We're good.
Okay, perfect. Okay, that's good. So I guess like what I learned from the chapter was, how are you doing besides your teeth?
Oh, good. Good.
Oh, good. I'm doing pretty good.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
You feel like you're struggling at all? Or no?
I feel like the weather here is really weird.
Where are you?
I'm in California.
Oh.
It's like it's just not sunny, and I'm used to it being sunny all the time, but it's winter time, so it's supposed to be wintry, but
yeah.
Like it's just there's no sun ever. And it's just like this bleak, dreary weather, and it's like, man. I'm sure it's not as bad as Idaho, though.
Yeah, I'm actually in Wyoming, so.
Oh, that's cool.
But that's pretty bad too, so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I guess what I learned from chapter 4 was like learning. They were just giving you teaching tips.
Yeah.
How to teach effectively. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I got from it too. Mm-hmm. Like just like things that will help you with some things, and it might not help with others, but just like little hints of, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So
I did the presentation for the pilot teaching, and the stories really are helpful.
Yeah,
when you're teaching, like I noticed, like they talked about stories a lot in this chapter.
Yeah,
and I'm thinking about it, and most of the stuff I've learned from other teachers is the stories that they told me, and I remembered what they said.
Yeah, it just like sticks with you more.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's because there's just something about it that makes it more personal. Yeah. Even though the story cannot be about the teacher themselves, it could be about, because even if I just shared like what I did was I shared like stories that are very basic stories that I read about, like a girl coming in and she's upset and that kind of thing, like it being very generally based, and the people in the group ate it up. Like they loved it. They hung on to the story and how it taught them the principle. So yeah. So I really liked that. And I think we have it easy as marriage and family teachers. It's much easier to teach these kinds of principles to help your family than like math.
Yeah, like I don't know how you would apply math to, your like family,
I mean, you need math. It's important, but it's harder to learn it, I think, because it's not, you can't use stories. And so I think these teaching methods are actually easier to practice. There was something else they said in finding a balance with stories and principles. And that was something I actually had a hard time with my pilot teaching, was finding factual evidence to support the story.
Yeah, like a scholarly source.
You know, like, and trying to incorporate scholarly material and make it fun.
Yeah, I feel like it's hard to, like if you're trying to use like a story and also include that, like, that information, it's kind of hard, like, to join them.
It is. And like,
if nothing that I'm saying makes sense, like, I apologize. I'm like, I took pain medicine because I had the teeth worked on, so I might just be a little out of it.
Oh, I love how you talk. It's charming. I love accents. I don't have one. I think I was like, California, you have an accent. You're from California. And I'm like, no, I don't. I sound like I'm from, I don't know. Sound like a city dweller. I like that rural sound, it's so endearing. Yeah, I grew up listening to the radio, and I talk like a radio show host. Like, that's how I talk. And I'm like, it's because my mom listened to the radio all the time. And in California, like, sorry, I get off topic, but I love how you talk. I think it's the best. Like, the accent and everything. Like, I think it's so cool.
Thanks. And then from chapter 5, they pretty much just talked about, like, well, they gave you like a useful guide for like most family life educators. And that was at the very beginning. And then it talks about, isn't his name Merrill? Merrill,
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
From the book, yeah.
Like his first principles and what they show, and like how he showed like the advantages and the disadvantages. I really liked that.
Oh, with what were some advantages and disadvantages for some of his models that he had? Like, is that what you...
Well, he just talked about how like school classroom learning is a disadvantage, and you can solve this. Like, he gave you a solution by sharing a story. And he then said, gave an example, invite the students to share stories that are related to the topic. So,
and it's true. It's good to share the advantages and disadvantages of those techniques that he's using.
Yeah.
So that you know how to help the audience more.
Yeah. So
or helping the students.
Yeah. So I just, like, in my outline, I have like his first principle, second, third, fourth, fifth, because like that was what the chapter was all about. It was like all of his different principles and how it helps.
Did he talk about, like, are you talking about like relevance and respect, participation, like those kinds of things? I think that's what I wrote.
So I have like, so it says, I'll just read you like my first principle shows that learning is facilitated when a learner is engaged in solving a real world problem. And then the next was learning is located when existing knowledge is activated as a foundation for new knowledge. So just like some of those.
Oh. When they talked about, I think for me, relevance, respect, and participation stood out.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that was
participation.
I think that was like
that's what stood out to me too.
Yeah.
Because like with relevance, is the material helping people solve their problems? Because I found a lot of material, it wasn't helpful, it was informative, but it was like there's no solution. It's just a chart of bad things that happen to people. Just like you got to find some solution. And so that his principle with that was really important, I thought. And then respect is respecting different cultures. And then participation, I think that like I had some of my professors that I learned from, like they were really helpful in helping us know how to participate, and they were really good at guiding the discussion. Like for when I did the pilot teaching, it was really hard because this is something that people like to talk about. It's not hard to get people to talk about it, their families, but it's really hard to keep the discussion just, does that make sense what I'm doing? Like you keeping it together.
Yeah.
Yeah. And keeping it and bringing it back.
Yeah, because every story like branches off, and then you can branch off another story from that story, and like every story needs to the focus. So
I had elders come. They were so good at bringing it back to the thing because they're teaching all day.
Oh yeah.
So they have to do that, to teach the principles to the people. And so like you have to bring it back to the principle or the concept that you're trying to teach. And it's really hard, especially if they can really relate to it. So I think that was the elders helped me a lot with, they helped me, give me advice on what to do. They're saying there's phrases you can use, like, let's get back to this, to be nice, but at the same time being more assertive.
Yeah.
And that's where respect comes in. Like you want to be respectful, but at the same time, getting it back to the topic is important.
Yeah. So then chapter 6, we talked about what did you get from chapter 6, or what did you like from it?
Oh, I did the teaching gospel. Now it's the chapter 6. Chapter 6. Oh, I got the question, certain words that are very effective for questions. It's pretty basic, but the who, what, when, and where, and how, those, it made it a lot easier for me to plan out the questions in the teaching rubric. And to keep the questions more simple. It keeps them simple, but they're deep. Does that make sense? Like,
yeah.
Why is marriage and family important? That's a pretty basic question. But why? It's a basic question, but that's a pretty deep question. Like, there's so many answers for something like that. So having that helped me encourage me to know how to ask effective questions. These questions are too effective, though. They talk a lot.
Yeah, I got, like, what I took away from that one was that I liked the approaches on social learning methods. Like how you can practice the skill in a non-stressful situation, describe the skill. And I used in my pilot teaching, I used the skill in real life. So I gave them like real life scenarios and was like, hey, what would you do? You know what I mean? So
oh, that's great. Yeah, the social learning is so interesting. I was looking up community and social learning. And that's one of my topics for the discussion. And it's how the community influences how you learn how to socialize. And like how that socialization you received when you were a kid impacts your ability to date and have relationships with people when you get older. And so like it was fun. Yeah, when you said social learning, I was like, yeah, that's really interesting because it's something that's really important to help people learn. And even with your topic too on sex, your parents had things they learned socially to help them communicate effectively.
Yeah.
So if they know how to communicate effectively with their kids, they can talk with them about things that could help them learn healthy habits in your relationship. Not things too deep, but
yeah,
know how to properly discuss that. So that whole thing's connected. Yeah. I think we're all sitting here reading it like, this is interesting. I'm going to use this. And it seems random, but you're like, this is really good. The community includes that, but
yeah.
I really liked, the teaching the gospel segments. I thought were good too. They were pretty basic, but I noticed if I studied more, like I really studied the material in the book. I didn't just read my article. I really tried to study it. I came up with more fun, creative ideas to help with the lesson plan. And so that's another thing that for the teaching the gospel pages that we had to read a few weeks ago, like that was really helpful to help me in my pilot teaching because there was intellectual stuff, but it was also engaging and helped the audience know how to say things and that kind of thing.
Right. Chapter 7, it was like a lot about like culture and stuff, like different, like you need to be aware of like different ethnicities and things like that. And yeah. What did you?
I was like, yeah, it's about diversity.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah. I know all about that. I'm in Southern California.
Yeah. And then chapter 8,
Oh, you picked chapter 8. So what was that chapter about? It was sex education, right? And how you do it?
No, I picked chapter 10. I thought we had to do 8.
I think we could pick one.
Oh.
I think, yeah. She said we could pick any of those chapters, I think.
Oh.
I don't know. Maybe I read it wrong. But I think she said we could just pick one of them. And I just picked the one that related to me the most, but it was kind of a chapter. Like I was like, I learned things.
Chapter 7 was your last chapter?
Really boring.
Was chapter 7 your last chapter?
Chapter 9 was my last chapter.
Oh, okay. So chapter 9, it was You picked 9?
Marriage and relationship education.
Okay.
Yeah, I picked that one.
Okay.
It was a good one. It was actually it was pretty religious. They were talking about how you need to be married to a good person.
Oh, dang.
And how you do, yeah. And it was just super. I was like, all these are Christ-like attributes.
Yeah.
And it felt kind of like that. And I was just like, this is helpful though, because it really was just really good advice with research. And they had all these different programs to help, which I thought were good. They talked about comprehensive frameworks and how you need to discern the needs of the audience. Like the content is really important. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to inspire discussion with the group. And intensity was how strong does it need to be? how firm do you need to be in how you're teaching it? Like on my mission, we did, some people we taught a lot of chastity, and we taught them very gently because they'd had some really rough things happen in their life, and we wanted to be sensitive to their needs, especially if they're just coming back from church from a long time. But if they were raised in the church, you know, we taught it a little bit more stronger. Like it just depended on the person. So you just had to like discern how intense you're going to be in teaching it, and then which scriptures are going to help encourage them to do what's right. Does that make sense? Like it's intensity in the sense like it's like that, only it's probably less sensitive because you're a health instructor, but
hey, I'm not feeling very well. I'm so sorry. I feel like I could like pass out kind of.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's weird. I know. But
do you want to go?
Yeah, I think we have like 25 minutes, right, on here?
We do.
Okay. Perfect, because it says 20 to 25 minutes in that.
She said that's okay.
Yeah, because it says like meet as a group, post a recording that is 20 to 25 minutes long. So.
Oh, okay. So it should be good. I hope you feel better. Thank you for meeting.
I'm so sorry. I just feel like awful. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
All right.
Thanks for meeting with me.
Yeah, no problem. Bye.
Okay. Okay. Bye.